What up, y'all? Malcolm, Game 7 CEO, and you're here for another team meeting. So Henry pulls up to the house. He gets out the car. He's walking with a hunchback. His back is killing him. He's struggling just to get up the driveway. And he walks in the door and he sees his wife and she just shakes her head. He's like, man, when you gonna retire? You've been doing this for 40 years. It's about time you chill out. And Henry tells his wife, he says, I know. And I'm so good at what I do, and I love doing what I do. I just can't give it up. And she was like, yeah, I know. I've been here with you the whole time, but I don't want you to drop doing what you love to do. You've put in your work. It's about time you chill out. So Henry was a general contractor. He was one of the best general contractors in the country. What he did was he helped build luxury homes. And he worked with an investor group. And primarily one of the dudes who were called Tim. So Henry the contractor and Tim the investor. So Henry calls Tim. He's like, yo, Tim, I got 3 more jobs for you. We got 1 more year. Let's knock these out. So Tim was like, man, I'm sorry to hear that because you the man, Henry. But I understand. You've been doing this for so long. We've done so much work together. We've made so much money together. So cool, let's knock these 3 houses out. So first 3 months of the year, Henry's working on the first house. Last month, he knocks it out. And Henry and Tim always had this tradition of calling the buyer upon completion of building the house to let the buyer know that the house was done and to have like kind of a handing it over kind of ceremony. So they call buyer 1. Buyer 1 pulls up to the house. They love the house. Boom, deal done. Same thing for the second deal. Henry takes about 4 months, builds the home up, super sweet. They call the buyer. Buyer picks up, cool, I'll be there tomorrow to come see things. Buyer comes, they love the house, deal locked in. I'm talking beautiful properties. Long driveways, huge yards, multiple floors, movie theaters, all that kind of stuff. So boom, the last deal. So Tim, the investor, tells Henry, he's like, yo, this the last one. We got a buyer who's kind of giving you all the control. It's up to you. They just want an additional property so that when they come out here for business, they can go to this house and they can rent it out for the rest of the year. So Henry like, cool, easy work. It's going to be the last one. So Henry gets on the phone with his team. He says, yo, we got lucky. This last buyer don't even care what we do, so we just going to cruise it out. We just going to get our standard blueprint and we're going to do what we do. So as opposed to the 4 months that Henry took to build the first 2 homes that were absolutely beautiful, Henry was like, shoot, I'm going to retire early. I'm going to make the same amount of money on this last one as I normally do. So I'm going to just make the house basic. So it was a big house, nice driveway, nice yard, solid movie theater, but not the same as the last 2. He knew the end was coming, and he knew he wasn't really cutting any corners because he was doing what he was paid to do. The last buyer just wanted a home, somewhere they can pull up when they got business and something they can rent out throughout the rest of the year. So they knock it out in 3 months. So Henry calls Tim. Yo, Tim, it's my last day. I finally knocked it out. Can you call the investor? Can you call the buyer so we can get them on the line and get this deal done? So Tim was like, cool, I'm going to call you right back. All right. Hangs up. Then literally like 10 seconds later, Tim calls back. And he's like, yo, Henry, I got the buyer on the phone. Henry's like, cool, how you doing, buyer? Hello? Hello? Nobody else is on the phone. Because the buyer turns out to be Tim, the investor. And Tim bought the home for Henry, the contractor. So the last home that Henry built, he was building it for himself. But he got the worst house out of the three because he didn't finish strong. He thought just because he did what he's paid to do, that was going to be enough. Instead of living up to his capabilities and delivering a drop-dead gorgeous home. Lesson of the story: doing what you're paid to do pays the bills. Everything on top of that is an investment into your future. Doing what you're paid to do pays the bills. Everything on top of that is an investment into your future. Just think about it. Henry got paid for his last home, and he still got the last home as his personal home. But just imagine if he would have poured everything into it. Huge yard, huge driveway, guest house, huge pool, gym, business center. Whatever he wanted to do, he could have done it. And he could have been able to hand that down to his kids, to his grandkids, leave it for his wife, turn it into a rental, whatever he wanted to do. But because he cut the corners, the only people that he hurt were himself and his family and friends. So use this story as a lesson to never just do what you're supposed to do, because that's only going to pay the bills. All of the extra, that's the growth. And you never know when that one time you do the extra, when it's going to turn into something. It's like a brick wall. You got to keep punching. You got to keep punching. You got to keep punching. If you don't give it all you got, you probably won't break it. But if you punch as hard as you can, whenever you're capable, you never know when it's going to break. And the harder you punch, the quicker you'll get to the other side, and the quicker you can capitalize off of it. So always remember, doing what you're paid to do pays the bills. Everything on top of that is an investment into your future. Don't be like Henry. Be like you. Easy work.